Welcome to another episode of the Quantum Ascension Shift Codes series. This is a free series that I'm hosting initially on YouTube, and we are winding down this mini series with these final episodes here, the end of September. And just as I suspected when I intuitively launched this almost 3 months ago, I knew whoever was going to be following along with this was going through a massive quantum shift. And this is still the case. If you've been following along and you resonate with this, my guess is that you are stepping into a whole new timeline, stepping into the unknown and free falling with the universe, with the divine, and living present in the now, creating as you go. So, this whole series is about leading, creating, giving, and receiving from Divine Overflow. If you want to check out the previous episodes while they're still here on YouTube, you can find them in the membership area. After that, they're going to be taken down and this will be repackaged into a little mini course. So, that being said, the message that wants to come through, what I'm feeling called to share on right now, is the creation piece of this, creating from divine overflow, because it's the opposite of what you would think. And I can just say that if you think you know what you are to be doing or creating in the 5D in order to align with your highest new earth timeline, you are completely limiting it, and it is not what you think. The only way to access this quantum womb of creation and create from the 5D, meaning you're not creating from 4D anymore. 4D is where you're trying to figure everything out. You're trying to fix, you're trying to figure everything out. You're trying to use a logical, linear steps to try to get somewhere. Let me remind you that this is the Quantum Ascension Shift Codes, which means this is your ascension journey and you are ascending into unity consciousness as you enter your new earth timeline. Therefore, you are living beyond the rules of the old paradigm rooted in 3D and 4D. 3D is where you're operating from, survival and fear-based conditioning. 4D is where you are on that spiritual journey, trying to figure everything out, personal development, and fixing everything, and trying to apply some kind of linear process to this. And every time you do that, you will be met with resistance because that is not heart centered creation. As you abide in unity consciousness, you will be creating in the now, in the moment of now, from the heart space. That means following your intuition, that your intuition and what your heart feels, what your heart knows to be true, which doesn't have any proof and doesn't follow logic. And this is what trips up so many on this ascension timeline as you're shifting into your new earth reality, let's say your divine reality, the life that you know you're born to lead, one that is rooted in fun and truth and freedom and authenticity. So it's not guided by logic. It's not going to make sense, and you can't figure this out. Now, will things be revealed to you that bring some clarity? Yes, but it's not going to be anything that you can grasp onto and not put in a box and compartmentalize. That doesn't mean you're not going to gain a lot of clarity on what, you know, eventually, but you're not going to starting out. If you're approaching this from the mind, the logical linear mind, you're going to be hit with a wall of resistance. You're being asked to completely surrender all control. And so, if here's the most, I know this sounds very annoying to, let me make sure my audio settings are right. Okay, they are. To the logical mind. And that's because Everything is backwards in the 5D. You think that you need logical linear steps before you can take the next step, or you need some kind of proof before you can take the next step, or follow some kind of hunch or nudge or spiritual download that you received. And everything is reversed. You're meant to follow it in faith and trust and knowing that your heart is guiding you and you can trust it. The divine is guiding you and you can trust it. Trust in thyself, trust in the divine is paramount during this phase of the journey. If you don't have trust, if you haven't been cultivating trust within yourself, meaning being able to trust and know that no matter what comes your way, no matter what you're going to move into, you can handle it. You will sabotage and continue to self abandon and choose from fear based consciousness. So, cultivating a level of trust on this journey is key. And part of that is what I've already alluded to in previous episodes, which is having your sacred nose. And many of you have already had sacred nose where you know that something is out of alignment, whether that is a relationship, a career path, a job, a community, where you're living, what you're doing, how you're earning, like all the things. Whatever's out of alignment that you know is out of alignment, you have to be willing to say no to. And every time you do that, you recalibrate to your higher timeline. But what's more important is you send the signal to the subconscious that you're not available for less than your highest timeline, and you're not available for self-abandoning, and you're not available for anything that's out of alignment. You choose alignment, you choose truth, and you trust and know that you can trust yourself, you can trust your heart, you can trust the divine. This unwavering trust and confidence must be cultivated for you to be able to move living on the edge. You're basically, when you're living from the 5D, there's nothing to cling onto. There's nothing to hold on to. And the more you try to grasp or make sense of stuff or compartmentalize it or make it like the way you used to do things or however you used to be, and try to like rebuild something based on past experience, right? You are limiting it, and that is a form of grasping to the old timeline, to the old version of you. And it's the egoic mind grasping for whatever it can to gain some kind of control or certainty or a sense of security. And it's fine. That's what it does. But you have to be able to see through that and know that you can trust yourself. And the only way you're going to be able to trust yourself is to start trusting yourself, meaning you say yes when you mean yes, you say no when you mean no, and you start to have those sacred no's, which are also simultaneously sacred yeses. And so I'm assuming if you're here now and you've been following along with this, or maybe this is the first time you're tuning into this, but you know that this summer has been priming you for this fall harvest season. I'm recording this right now on the fall equinox in 2025. You know that you have been planting seeds and you have been primed. You can feel the momentum. You can feel even a sense of maybe nervousness. And what this really is expansion. It will appear as anxiety to the egoic mind that is grasping for control or certainty, but it feels like excitement and expansion to your soul. That's how you know that you are aligning with your higher timeline. It's not going to make sense. You're going to be pulled and called and summoned into things, directions, and situations, circumstances, collaborations, ways of earning, like all the things that you never even thought of. Keyword thought, because this is not a journey of the mind. This is a journey of the heart. And the heart doesn't need logical sense, and it doesn't need linear steps, and it doesn't work off of time. It works right here in the now, in the present moment. And so if you're resonating with this right now, if you're listening to this, I ask you to, and you're maybe you feel like you're lost somewhere still in the chaos and you're trying to gain clarity. just know that you're not, there is no map for this. There is no map in the 5D. There is no map on the New Earth timeline. You have to be willing to adjust and pivot every now moment based on what is feeling like alignment for you now. And that doesn't mean that everything's going to be like you're not going to be able to build some kind of stability or structure. You most definitely will be able to build stability or structure, but it's not going to be based off of you trying to build it. It's going to naturally, organically unfold as you take the aligned, inspired steps. And so, the best tips for this right now to be able to create from divine overflow, because this is about leading, creating, giving, and receiving from divine overflow. And you are a creator, you are here to create. You're not here to work, you're here to be a creator. So, what does that mean? It means that you are a channel, you are a vessel, and allowing infinite intelligence to run the show and lead you. So this whole time maybe you thought it was you leading and creating and giving and receiving from divine overflow. This is the divine in you leading and creating and giving and receiving from divine overflow. You might want to reverse this, rewind, and listen to that again because that is key. The divine is leading and creating and giving and receiving from overflow. That's why it's called Quantum Ascension Shift Codes into Divine Overflow. The divine is running the show here. The divine is leading. The divine is creating through you. So, what does that mean? You are the vessel, you are the channel. What's coming up is faith in the unknown and in the unseen, and what you know in your heart that you are divinely guided and protected, and that there is something bigger that you're being guided to. And it feels bigger because it's not about you, it's about being in service to the one. But being in service to the one does not mean self-sacrifice. You are the one. So you are not left out of that equation. So there is no self-sacrificing or self-abandoning in this equation whatsoever. But that's why it feels so much bigger than you. And so what's coming through is faith in the unseen, right? Faith in the unseen, trust in the unseen, faith before you see proof, because you can't look outside looking for proof. That's the logical mind trying to figure things out. And you are the proof. The proof is through your expression. Like you are the proof. Like you are it. I don't know how else to say this. Like you are it. Your faith is like the altar during this process, and your devotion is your offering. So I ask you, what are you devoted to? Are you devoted to the worries of the little mind? Are you devoted to seeking out all of the lack and limitations in your 3D reality and trying to fix and figure those out? Or are you devoted to your highest calling, what brings you the most joy, what lights you up and brings you the most, it feels like fun and play, because that is the key. That is the nugget, the divine nugget of gold to follow, is what really lights you up, what brings you joy. And I was talking with a client the other day, and here's the thing. When you sit here and you say, and you ask yourself, okay, what feels like fun? What feels like joy? It's going to be a lot of things that seem completely unrelated. And your mind's going to go, how is that going to work? Who's going to pay me to do that? How am I going to make a living doing that? Like, so you like to play with animals, you like to ride bikes, you like to sit at the beach, you like to dance, you like to garden, you like to do all of these things, right? And your mind is going, okay, what the F? How do all of these flow together? And this is what's going to keep you looping in cycles like a little hamster wheel of frustration. You also may be um, not tested per se, but you may be seeing opportunities pop into your experience during this time that represent your old identity. And because of the unwillingness to sit in the unknown, or the feeling of a lack of security, or a lack of safety, or a lack of support, or a lack of certainty, that unknown space, you latch on to the old identity, the old lifeboat, the one that is sinking, that has a lot of holes in it and is never going to lead to your highest timeline. It's never going to lead to you being really lit up and living your life that just lights your soul on fire. But you will be challenged to attach to old patterns, old identities, old ways of old ways of doing things, old jobs, old roles, all the things. You may be tempted, right? You may be tempted to entertain things that in your heart of hearts you know does not feel aligned. And that will get harder and harder for you to do that if it hasn't already been made clear that it's absolutely impossible for you to do that. But you will ride that wave where it feels impossible, or it feels like it's just sucking the soul out of you, to go back and do the things, or be the things, or show up in the ways that you used to show up in all of that, right? So apply it how it resonates for you. It's going to get increasingly uncomfortable to do those, because it's attaching you to an old identity that is dying, and you're jumping back in your lifeboat, right? So I always use the metaphor that you're off, when you're shifting in between timelines, you're like a boat out at sea, and you've already left the shore of the old timeline, and you can't see the shore of the new timeline yet. So all you see is water every direction that you look. The horizon is just completely, there's no sign of land anywhere. And so you've been in this liminal space, in this no man's land, so to speak, this sacred in between, where you can't latch on anymore to the old identity, although you will be tempted to, right? It's like, but you feel resistance, or you feel restriction around it, because you know on a soul level that's not the path for you anymore. And the reason you're tempted to go back to old ways of doing or being, or earning or working or whatever, the reason is because you are not comfortable in the unknown, and you're not trusting the unseen. But when you can trust the unknown, and you can look and you can see all the horizon, you can see no land, but you just see the water and the horizon all around, but you're good in the unknown. That's when you start to see the land of the new timeline that you are approaching, but not until. Because as long as you are operating from fear, running back, dipping your toe back in the old identity, right? Which is fear based consciousness, coming from lack, coming from scarcity, coming from unworthiness, anything that's sending you back into old dynamics and ways of living and existing that no longer align with you. That's fear based consciousness. If you are willing to be in the unknown and in the uncertainty long enough, you will shift and something will click in you. And this doesn't take years, it literally can take moments. Something will shift in you where you you click into trusting in the unknown and in the unseen, and what used to be really scary to the egoic mind, but really it's exciting and lights your soul on fire, because it's just pure expansion, magic, and miracles in the unknown for you, and the soul knows this. um as you begin to trust that, then that's when things will be start to be revealed, but not before, because before you are still operating from fear-based consciousness, if that makes sense. So the best thing you can do, you will you when I'm a always, if you've been following me for any length of time, you know I'm a big advocate for prayer. But not the kind of prayer a lot of you are used to, because a lot of you are praying with your beggar's cup out and praying for help, or praying for a solution, or praying for something. And you are literally God incarnate, and you are giving all of your power away to the form, to the world of form, acting as if something else, or even a God essence outside of you, is going to be able to save you. And this whole ascension timeline is about you realizing that you are the power source, that God lives within you, that you are one with all that is. You are the infinite intelligence that is beating your heart and uh pumping your blood, looking through your eyes right now. Separation consciousness is fear-based consciousness. And this is what you were transcending: fear-based consciousness, separation consciousness, where there is a you and there is everything else out there, including a God outside of you. And you are transcending that into unity consciousness, meaning union, meaning there is no like oneness consciousness. You are in union with thyself and the one that created you. This is divine inner union. And as you begin to embody this, you no longer pray with your beggar's cup out, because you already know the God source lives within you. You are one. You are a child of God. God lives within you. And so you begin to take your power back. And how do you do that? You begin to anchor into your I am presence. You're no longer operating from the separate sense of self, the identity that thinks it's separate. You bring your power back, your God essence, your goddess energy, which I refer to as goddess, which is God essence, right? You're not giving your power away to other goddesses either, although all of these archetypal energies are fun to play with. But in the truth of it all, you are all of it. So I know this is a paradox, and that's just the way it is. It's a paradox, right? So you're not giving your power away to anything anymore. You are it. You are one with all that is. You are it. And unity consciousness, there is no jumping up into the mind, trying to sort things out, figure everything's out, like worrying and projecting and living in those projections and worries and things like that, right? And so when you pray, you're ultimately praying to yourself then, and the God source that created you. You and your father are one. Your father is greater than you, meaning you did not create yourself, this physical mystery, this everything. This is one big mystery. It's one Everything's one big miracle, and nobody really knows what the F is going on over here, but this is one big miracle. If you really look closely, you'll see that you don't know anything. And that is probably the wisest realization you will ever have. And I know, again, this sounds very paradoxical. Um, Let me take a sip of this. I got something in my eye as well, and it's like bothering me. But where was I? Mm. When you begin to call your God power back to you, and again, I'm saying you in quotations here loosely, because you are not the you that you think you are. As you call back the God power that animates this vessel, and you ask for clear guidance, remember, faith is the altar, devotion is your offering. What are you devoted to? Are you devoted to the fears of the little mind and trying to figure everything out based on lack and scarcity and what the world is reflecting back to you? Because it's going to continue to reflect back to you what you are conscious of being, and there's no escaping this. So this is just this is the game you play. You signed up to play. Um, Faith is the altar, the devotion is your offering. And as you pray for everything to be revealed to you for your next step, however you can be used as a channel, as a vessel for the highest and greatest good of all involved, and you say that with true heart intention, not to solve a problem, not to make your fears go away, not to put money in your bank account, but truly surrender to having to figure it out and really let God run the show, because ultimately you will always get your answer when you are asking yourself, because that's actually what you're doing, whatever's in the highest and greatest good for all involved. And I would also add to this, because intention is very powerful. What's the most fun that you could have? How fun does it get to be? How abundant does it get to be? How joyful does it get to be? Allow yourself to be shown that. You don't have to figure this out. This should be good news for you. You don't have to figure it out. There's no heavy lifting here. You just have to be willing to receive what God, the divine, wants to express through this physical vessel that it's animating right now. And when you surrender to that, you will receive guidance, but it's not going to be the guidance that your ego wants. It's going to be, it could feel like go to that coffee shop. You just are feeling called to go to the coffee shop with your laptop one day. And so you go to the coffee shop and you go work for a couple of hours while you have your little matcha latte and you're tapped into the Wi Fi and you're plugging away on something. That's it. And then you happen to look up on the bulletin board and there's a class. And the class is like, huh, that would be really fun. That's really interesting. And so you actually go to the class. You actually go to it. You follow that. And then you go to that class and you have this amazing fun experience. You go to this amazing fitness class or art class or something like that that just lights you up, that you've been thinking about probably for a while, but you haven't been actually acting on it. And then all of a sudden it just pops up at this coffee shop that you just went to, and now the dots are starting to connect a little bit. And so you go, not because you have an agenda, not because you're trying to figure anything out, not because you need it to be a certain thing or turn out a certain way, but you just go, and then you get another breadcrumb, another download. And not because like, do you see how this unfolds? It's always here, it's always now, it's always you following the frequency of fun and play and allowing yourself to trust in that just a little bit, just long enough. I mean, it's going to be actually the rest of your incarnation here, but don't tell your mind that. Your mind's just going to like trip you out. Just go. Just listen. Just do whatever it is that you're being guided to do. And if there's nothing that you're being guided to do, then just chill, play, have fun, read a book, like do something that's so just nurturing and loving for you, because ultimately you taking care of your this vessel, this physical vessel that everything gets to be expressed through, is key, because you are a channel, you are a vessel, everything flows through you. So I know if you're listening to this, there's probably plenty of things that bring you pleasure or joy. And I'm using the word pleasure here right now. It's interesting that pleasure is coming through, because pleasure is key here, because pleasure is tied to the sacral chakra. This is all part of sacral magnetism, which I will announce probably in a different episode. I'm not interested in talking about it right now. I don't want to get sidetracked, but what brings you pleasure? This is what brings you joy. What brings you a sense of satisfaction? And I'll share a real life example just to like mirror this for you. So for me, it's always been going dancing or lounging by the pool and going swimming. I've always been really guided to get into water and just swim. Also having slow mornings and dropping in intentionally, and always setting the intention before my feet even hit the floor, before I get out of bed. There's a devotion. How, please, where do I go? What do I do? What do I say, and to whom? How can I be of service to the highest and greatest good of all involved? Use me. I'm here as a vessel. I'm here as a channel. How fun does it get to be? Please show me. Please let it be obvious based on how fun and how resonant it feels. What is the highest expression my soul came here to experience? What do I need to experience or receive that I didn't even know I needed to experience or to receive in order to move forward into this timeline that is beyond anything I ever could have expected, right? Like, be open to receive that. Have that dialogue. Have that open dialogue with the one that created you, the one that lives within you, and allow yourself to receive it. And if you don't receive it within the same minute that you ask, take a breath, calm yourself, breathe, calibrate your nervous system, go for a walk, walk your dogs, do whatever it is that you do, watch a sunset, and chill, breathe, listen to the silence, listen to the stillness, stop distracting yourself, stop getting caught up in figuring things out and trying to make things happen or numbing out in some way, and just chill and go inward and be. And then when something drops in that sparks curiosity or fun, follow it. This sounds like there's no action, and that's not true. There is a ton of action, a ton of inspired action when it's lit, lit action, momentum behind it, divine magic behind it. Like, you couldn't not do it kind of energy, kind of vibe. Like, you just couldn't not do it. It feels so good. There's a ton of action. There's a time and place for that, but it's not going to be all action, and it's not going to come from the logical mind trying to figure it out and make sense of everything and then trying to put a plan together and check all the boxes so that it can feel safe and secure. This is why, circling back, trust in the unseen and the unknown is paramount, because you are going to be riding the wave of expansion. This is pretty much like riding the unknown from here on out. So, this whole thing that you're afraid of, like the unknown, the lack of certainty, the not knowing 5 moves ahead and what's going to happen a month from now or 6 months from now, and all the things, that's just something that becomes very playful and very fun when you realize that, oh, you just get to be here now and play in the fun, and it's either going to be resonance or not resonance. So if I can give any piece of advice here by walking this, and there's so many things unfolding that I'm going to share some of my clients behind the scenes in the membership in Rise Sister Rise, in Embodied the Empress and Rise Sister Rise, know of some of the things that are unfolding. Um, and all I can say is I never would have, like, it would have, it was not something, these things that are coming into out of the blue and popping in and so inspired, divinely inspired and guided, are not anything I would have thought or figured out or even tried to plan. And they are linked to passions. They are linked to passions and desires, but beyond what my mind could have figured out, and definitely pulling me straight into the unknown, and definitely trusting that whatever unfolds, I can handle it because it's divinely guided through me, as me, and it's meant to be expressed through me, and I have to trust that. So it takes a high level of trust in thyself and in your own power. This word came up the other day in Embody the Empress as well, power. It takes a level of trust in your own power because you are powerful, and you have to be able to trust that, because you are going to you're going to be riding the wave of the unknown from here on out. And the other thing is, you're never going to get there. Like, the mind wants to get to a destination. That's not what this is. There is no destination. Everything is backwards, okay? Everything is backwards in the 5D, in your new earth timeline. Everything that you thought you could cling to for safety, security, or certainty in some way is out. The only thing that you have certainty in now is your conviction and trust in yourself and in the divine, that you are being guided and it's always this or something better. And all you have to do is be open to receive and take the next inspired action that feels like fun and lights your soul on fire. And give yourself some breathing room to be able to do that before you flip out and run back into the mind again. Because every time you do that, every time you shine the light on doubt, every time you amplify doubt in your experience or fear in your experience, you are collapsing into that old timeline again. This is why I said devotion is your offering. Faith is the altar, devotion is your offering. What are you devoted to in every moment? In every moment of now, what are you devoted to? And the thing that's fun here is as you get momentum going in trusting yourself and taking action in every moment, it gets easier and easier to take action in every moment, and it gets easier and easier to stay here now playing and creating and having fun and not giving airtime to the doubts in the mind. And then what happens is like all of a sudden a floodgate of different opportunities and partners or collaborations or um uh yeah, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, I will be able to explain it in more detail soon, at least what's happening over here. But I'd love to hear what's happening for you. If you feel like sharing, if you want to drop this in the comment, I would love to hear from you. It's being alive here and now in the unfolding and loving every juicy moment of this because this is all you got. And this is what the soul came here to experience and how the soul came here to play. And this is why it feels so hard, resistant, restrictive, tight, heavy to try to play in the old identity or the old paradigm or give any airtime to all of the things that tether you to that fear-based identity, fear-based timeline. Because your soul came here to play and expand here in the now. And from here now, everything else unfolds. And yes, there will be what appears to be planning in the now, and there will be action taking in the now, and there will be things you say yes to in the now, and there will be things you say no to in the now. You have healthy discernment here. You have infinite wisdom here. You also have full trust and knowing here. So it gets really, really simple because at the end of the day, it's just resonance or not resonance. And you'll be able to feel it. It either resonates or it doesn't resonate. And through resonance, you will know. And through resonance, that is what you follow. You follow the resonance. You follow the frequency. You follow what feels fun. You follow what lights you up and brings you joy. And it actually also might scare the shit out of the old version of you, remnants. So your nervous system will be calibrating to this expansion. Your egoic mind will interpret this as um, maybe like anxiety or nervousness or something like that, and it's really expansion. You're going to be pulled out of your comfort zone. So this isn't like, like this is the thrill that your soul came here to play. This is the ride the soul came here to play or ride. So it's not like you're following the fun and the joy and the play, and yeah, you're going to come up against your comfort zone. So it's not going to feel comfortable. Comfort zone is not your friend here, but it will light you the fuck up. It will light your soul on fire. It will make your heart sing. And it might also scare you a little or a lot in the best way, in the way that just lights your soul on fire, in the way that just gives you full body chills. And at the same time, you're questioning, what the F am I getting myself into? But it's just so juicy and fun that you can't say no because it's just what your soul is calling you to do. And what you're being asked to follow right now is your heart's knowing. You're being guided to follow your heart's knowing, trusting in the unseen, trusting in yourself. You've already likely cultivated a level of trust in yourself, but this is taking it to the nth degree, like unwavering trust. unwavering trust. And all you have to do is take whatever the next step is, whatever the next thing is that's revealed to you. And you don't have to force it or figure it out, but you do have to have the courage to do it. Again, devotion is your offering. Devotion. Call in, have a dialogue, be a cooperative component in this process. Call in, but not from giving your power away. Call in, talk to the one that lives within you, the source within you that created all things, and ask for whatever needs to be shown to you to be shown to you. Ask to see things clearly, hear things clearly, and be the channel and vessel that you came here to be in devotion to the highest and greatest good of all involved, which involves you being lit up, living a life that blows your mind, literally beyond the mind, and lights your heart up. This is what your soul came to experience. This is heart centered creation in the 5D. Heart centered creation. Following your intuition, trusting in your knowing, and following the frequency of fun and joy and pleasure and what lights you up. And loving, having that sacred self worth and knowing that whatever's on the other side of those things that are coming into your experience, those nudges and those downloads and things, that you are worthy of receiving everything. And this is leading, creating, giving, and receiving from Divine Overflow. Receiving is part of this. Receiving is part of giving. They're two sides of the same coin. You have to be able to know on a soul level that you can trust yourself and that you're worthy of all of it. You're worthy to you're worthy of living a beautiful, abundant, joyful, playful, fun life, doing what you love. In fact, it is your destined path. That's why you're listening to this right now. Otherwise, you wouldn't have landed on this and you would have already clicked away by the time you got this far into it, which I don't even know how far this is. I don't know how long this is, but it's pretty long. This is you came here to experience this. You came here to be a living, walking transmission of high frequency. You came here to be a living, walking, talking example of what is possible when you choose truth over fear, love over fear, or when you choose your divine calling over fear. So everything in your heart of hearts that you've known this whole time is meant for you. And now you're just being asked to align with that version that already knows it. So, last thing I'll say here before I end it, it's time to stop negotiating with the part of you that knows. It's time to stop negotiating with the part of you that knows. So, I'm going to end it there. I hope this landed for you or resonated. If it did, please let me know in the comments. Again, if you want all of the other episodes before they come down off of YouTube and get packaged up, you can find those in the membership area. And until next time, I hope this finds you well. Namaste.